Welcome to the Pop-Off with Gene FitzMagic and friends. Your daily sports and entertainment radio show, live all over the world. You're going to want to hear what these guys have to say. With their hot takes, recaps, previews, and predictions, sometimes these guys might get along, but most times, they won't. So see what happens when these guys pop off about the world of sports and entertainment.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is Monday, April 17th, and this is the Pop-Off Show. I am G FitzMagic, joined by Caleeb Pinkett, Ali Melendez, and Nigel Downer. And Nigel is muted. Oh, there he goes. He is not muted anymore. How are you guys doing, man? How was your weekend?
Good. How are you? Hi, Nigel. We haven't had the opportunity to meet yet. I'm super excited to have this, podcast with you. It's awesome.
Still can't hear you, Nigel. We can't hear Nigel.
Oh, shucks, Ali, thank you.
There he is.
If anybody's watching right now, or when you listen later, I actually did that on routine 3 times. It looked perfect every time, right? It was like the same me saying, yes. Oh, Ali, thank you, on repeat.
True professional. Hey, Caleb. Yeah. And hey, Gene. Hey. How are you guys?
So how was everybody's weekend? Anybody do anything fun this weekend? I know Nigel did. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I saw you dressed up nice and spiffy, man.
I did.
What did you have?
So up here in Canada, we had what's called the CSA, so the Canadian Screen Awards. So it's very much the equivalent of the Oscars down south for film and TV and web up here. So I was the host of one of.
Definitely not.
I was going to ask Caleb if you felt the same way.
No, definitely not.
I was wondering, I was like, oh, they're going to let me go on. They're not even going to stop me, and they're not even going to check me on that? Oh, great. I loved it. It is one of our highest accolades here in our nation, from border to border.
Love that.
So I was the co-host of one of the nights, specifically the comedic and dramatic arts night. So it was super fun, man. Like some of our biggest stars were there. Ryan Reynolds was there. Catherine O'Hara was there. So we had some really heavy hitters in the audience, and we had some amazing awards that people that won the awards. We had some amazing productions that got nothing but award after award. Like the hardware was crazy. So shout out to The Porter, shout out to Sort of. There's all these great, fantastic shows, Canadian content that I believe you can watch down south too, that got all the accolades and got all the flowers.
Fantastic.
So, yeah. Yeah, it was nice.
So you dress up.
How you reference us as down south, which is
I know, right? Like
I know,
New Yorkers in California.
The same thing. I'm like, okay.
Sounds good, Nigel.
I'm just trying to be P's and Q's. I don't know.
It's definitely south of Toronto, so I get it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ryan Reynolds. I'm a huge Ryan Reynolds fan. I love Ryan Reynolds. The Van Wilder Ryan Reynolds is like, yeah. You can't beat it.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Have you ever seen Waiting? Have you ever seen that one?
Mm-hmm. Waiting is one of his first ones too, and it was
Waiting is one of his like that. Oh my gosh, he's a server at just like a dive restaurant kind of thing, like any
Applebee's.
Yeah, any kind of Applebee's or Olive Gardens or whatever.
Wow,
and it's so
it's
funny.
Great.
Yeah,
especially a young Ryan Reynolds. I'm there.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Who else was in that cast? They had a pretty good cast. They had like a lot of all young at the time too.
Wasn't Jay and Silent Bob in it?
Oh
no, but there was a Jay and Silent Bob type.
Yeah,
Anna Faris was in it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love those guys too. They're hilarious. So
yeah,
man. So it was a good weekend, man. It was really fun. I mean, the awards lasted all week for the most part, and the big and then so like I said, I co-hosted one of the shows. Again, it was all funny people, and it was great. It was a lot of dramatic people too, and then they had a little bit of a digital thing yesterday on Sunday for an hour. But yeah, man. So your boy had to get all dressed up and represent. Check me out on IG, Nigel_Downer. You'll see the threads. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So tell us about the hat. You got a new hat.
Yeah, today I am representing the gorilla from the mascot from the Phoenix Suns. Listen, I know we're going to talk a lot of basketball today because there's a lot of stuff that we need to talk about and clear the air with. So I thought I'd represent that. So this is an exclusive. Shout out to my girl Miriam, who's in Phoenix, and she hooked her brother up with this one. You got that, nice little tone-on-tone new era, and you got that tone-on-tone NBA logo. Hey, man, one of my faves. I cleaned this up nice for y'all just today, so I got to post this one on my other.
It looks really good. I like it. I feel like I need one, but we'll talk about the Nets. We'll talk about all the things. But I'm over here on the East Coast. So I'm like, I'd rather just talk about the West Coast today. But so wait, Nigel,
right?
From Toronto.
Yeah.
But a Suns fan?
No, not even. I just love this hat. I like this hat so much. I mean, I'm also like a 90s basketball fan. So the reason why I bring that up is because back in the day when you had the teams like the Suns that were kind of like, you had Barkley on there, but people weren't really into the Suns as much, but they always had kind of crazy designs and whatnot. So I just always kind of like their vibe. So yeah, but I'm straight through and through Raptors fan always.
Okay, got to be authentic, right? I appreciate
always.
that.
All right, well, guys, we have a ton of headlines to get through, so let's start first with the Heat beat the Bucks 130-117, but some bad news for both teams. Hero and Giannis both injured. Guys, what do we make of this? Obviously, Giannis is going to be day-to-day. Doesn't sound like it's going to be anything where it's too threatening, but you know what? You still need him there, obviously, as you see with the loss yesterday. And then Hero breaks his hand. Caleb, what did you think of the game?
The game was great, but I think it's pretty much over for the Heat because they need Tyler Hero. Like you need him, and his hand being broke. They said he's out 4 to 6 weeks. That's basically the whole tournament. So that's it. And Giannis hurt his lower back. But he's getting the best treatment in the world. He'll be fine. He's gonna come back. It's not anything broken. There's nothing strained. There's no slip disc and none of that. So his test came back negative. So he'll be back. And the Bucks, they seen that Miami's not playing. So they're gonna come out. So I'm expecting a full return to glory, so to speak, for the Bucks. And the first game of the playoffs is always, that's why it's 7-game series. You know what I mean? Like it's like you take the shot, you say, okay, we get it, and now they can come back. If Miami was to win again in Milwaukee, now it's something to talk about. But right now, if you're a Bucks fan, I don't think it's really nothing to be too worried about. I think the series is definitely going to get good, and it's good news that Giannis, results are negative, so he should be good.
And so they came back. Everything was clear, but they only led the game. I think 4-2 was the only lead they had at one point in that game, and then it was all Miami. But on a bright spot, once they're fully healthy with Giannis being able to get back to the full game, Middleton will look solid on his first game back. 33 points. Yeah.
And Chris, Holiday, and Giannis, those three are the core for that squad, and they need them all there, especially to make this run through the playoffs. I think their biggest threat for them will be Boston. I think Boston is the strongest team in the tournament, East and West. I think they are, right? And it's so crazy. Boston goes as Tatum goes. So if Tatum can not choke this time, I think Boston definitely should win the tournament. But there's a big valley between words and action, and him standing up and doing what was supposed to happen. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I think the Bucks and Celtics will represent the East in the Eastern Conference. I think one of them beats the 76ers easily. Not easily, it'd be good, but if they shut down Harden, Embiid can score 80 points and the Sixers will still lose. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a good point. And and Jimmy Buckets, man, he looked like Jimmy Buckets yesterday. 35 points, 11 assists. But is this going to be they need more than that if Hero's going to be out, correct, for the rest of the series? I mean, can he do more than that?
Well, I mean, look, it's no, they don't need more than that. It's like you got to get more of the other team involved. Because again, it's like the same thing with Embiid. Buckets could score 90. They'll still lose. like that doesn't matter. Basketball is a team sport, right? And those that know how to utilize their team better will have more success over the long run. That's why it's a 7-game series. You could win a game, going off for 80. You can win a game, with a quadruple double, but you're not going to win 4. The best team usually wins in a 7-game series, like almost 98% of the time. Mm-hmm. And I you know what? I'm going to back up. I'm going to say 100% of the time, because even with a team that you expect to lose, if they win 4, they're obviously the better team. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I think the way that the NBA playoffs are set up, it's perfection. Like the best team always wins. And, now consider some injuries change everything. If Giannis was out, I would not be picking the Bucks to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. No, right? They need Giannis. So, that's pretty much like how I see it. So to answer your question, Buckets needs to continue consistently being Jimmy Buckets, or playoff Jimmy, however you want to call him. But he needs the other team to step up. You need Bam to step up. You need. Well, they don't have Oladipo. He's hurt. But it's like the rest of the Heat players. You really need Bam though. You need Bam on both sides of the ball. So it's gonna be interesting. But I do not expect the Heat to come out to win this series, even with the best defense in the Eastern Conference with the city of Miami. I still think that they're gonna lose because the Bucks are immune to it. Giannis ain't going out to the club. So that's
a good point. now, Allie, could also be one of the reasons why they got off to the slow start in the series. Could it be the fact that Milwaukee hasn't played in about a week? Like, yeah, it's good to have some rest, but maybe you also fall out of sync. Do you think that could have been one of the things that was benefiting that benefited Miami, is that they've been a little bit battle tested in the past week? They played some big games this past week. Could that have helped them be able to overtake Milwaukee at least game 1?
Yeah, I mean, why not? And to Caleb's point, like the 76ers, you can't also, I'm just going to go to them for a second, because I do think that they'll go far. I do think they could come out of the East. I mean, Joel Embiid is looking like he has the stats to back him up to be MVP, right? He's averaging 33 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists per game. Like, I wouldn't shut them down. Not that anyone's shutting them down. I know you didn't say that, Caleb, but I wouldn't overlook them right now. And that hurts me physically and emotionally, because I know that means Nets are just out, and and not to count them out, we'll see what happens, but I do see the 76ers progressing, and they're not to be overlooked, especially Joel Embiid, especially with his potential opportunity to become the MVP. So I don't know, I feel that I've been more focused on I'm proud of the Knicks. I'm always proud of the Nets just because I work with them, but I do think we should be focusing a little bit more on 76ers going pretty far in playoffs.
Well, and they steamrolled. They routed last night, or was it the night before? I believe. When did they play? The night before, I think. But we also Lakers beat Grizzlies. Also an injury over here. Ja being injured. Nigel, how bad do you think that hurts the Grizzlies going forward? Does that give the Lakers, because he's doubtful for game 2, does that give the Lakers a real chance to steal 2 in Memphis?
Listen, man, first thing I want to talk about is the energy that has been across the board for all of the game 1s. The energy has been out of control. I've watched every game 1, like every series for this round of playoffs, because it just seems like everybody is starting at a 12 out of 10, and then it's going to it'll slow down and everybody will kind of get into the rhythm, but it has been bananas. I think the play-ins is what really set the tone. I want to say that first, because I think that's really crucial and pivotal to this conversation about
good point
about all the injuries that we're getting from our stars, because these stars are the ones that are going to lead the teams, and they know that, and they're going so hard, and we're getting these injuries. I don't know if you guys saw the injury to Ja, but like it looked bad. Like it just his hand, like when he went up for the layup, I believe, I think Russ was underneath him, right? And when he came down, his finger kind of buckled, then his hand buckled, and then and then he came down on it. So this is a big blow to the squad, because he was the heart and soul of that team. And you could tell the audience, the crowd, the fans, they were silenced, so that is also a big factor. Shout out to all the fans that are making it to these games, because it's going to be bananas. But that also silenced them, man. So I think this series is going to be one of the fun ones to watch. I think it's really going to be one of the fun ones, because we don't know how it's going to turn out. The Lakers too, Like what we kind of talked about this. We didn't touch on it too aggressively. Lakers aren't messing around, man. They're not. They're not messing around. Like they all of a sudden are a next team. They're a different team right now.
But Brown's always different in the postseason. I mean, the last few years he
1,000%.
saves it for the postseason. But you know what? He did it. You know, we don't thank LeBron for this win. I think Hachimura was 21 in the second half, 29 overall, career high in the playoffs. I mean, he was the one I think really that set the tone for the game coming off the bench.
Yeah. And the one thing I was scared of as well is we all waited for it. And I was going to actually text Eugene. I was going to send out a little message to everybody and be like, yo, y'all see Davis though? Because when he said he can't move his arm just before half, I was like, oh, he gone.
Here we go.
Oh, it's over. You know what I mean? But luckily, you know, he fought through and got through it. But when those stars go out, who's going to step up? Who is going to step up? And I'm not saying that facetiously. I'm actually genuinely asking, because then we're going to see how deep these teams can be, or how deep they can go, and how far into the playoffs for that Larry OB they can make it. Caleb said it too, man. It's not that Buckets needs to put in extra work. It's the rest of the team needs to contribute that much more. You just need to put in 2 more buckets. You need to get 1 more rebound. So this Lakers Memphis series, I think my ears are perked and my eyes are all on this series right now.
You know, and Reeves also 23 points, nine straight towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
Right?
That's Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what about the Clippers series without Paul George? I mean, so Clippers won, which is great, I guess. But what is your thoughts on like George and the injuries there and that series and how it's going to roll out without him?
Well, they're saying he's not coming back.
Assuming he's not coming back for the series. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're saying he's not going to now.
Okay.
Right.
Not likely to come back.
And so but they won last night. So the pressure is on the Suns. So there's that. Yeah. But I will say real quick to the Lakers and Memphis, the Memphis Grizzlies go as Ja Morant, right? Because if Ja's hand is messed up there, it's over for them because they don't have the defense in the middle to contain AD. Now, what they have on their side is AD is snake bitten. So at any time, he can be out with an injury. His shake was too cold. He tore his ACL. You know what I mean? Like it's Mr. Glass. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he has to play in bubble wrap in order to not get hurt. And even then he could do something. So the Lakers will go as far as AD goes. But seeing Austin step up, seeing Amachimura, that's how you pronounce his name? Amachimura. Yeah, him ball out. I saw him balling when he was with the Wizards. So I know
Washington.
It's like that's what helps LeBron. So it allows LeBron to be able to step up when needed. You got to have those role players. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the Lakers are a team that you do not want to play because they're so stacked. They have so many people. So it's going to be bad for Memphis. I picked the Lakers to win this series because I knew Steven Adams wasn't there to keep Mr. Glass at bay. So with nobody in the middle, it's a wrap. I think this series is over. I think the Lakers win in 6 and they will move on. They will not beat. I don't know if they get through the second round, but I do know they're going to beat Memphis. And because I just feel like Ja can't do it on his own. He's not that spectacular of a 3-point shooter. He's more of a athletic player. And if he can't dunk, then he's basically neutralized. So, you know, Bane is great from the outside. Brooks can shoot. You know, they got shooters.
Jaren Jackson, too, 31 points.
He's the engine. Ja is the engine. So if he's gone, I think it's over for them. Or if he's not 100%, like if he can't grip that basketball with his hand, it's a wrap. So that's how I see that. But it's this first round is great. I mean, damn, the Warriors lost. I didn't expect that. I thought they was going to pull it out. You know, so it's gonna be interesting. The Kings look great, by the way.
They did.
Shout
they
out
did. They look like they did all season. You know, and then so topic 3, Clippers beat the Suns 115-110. Paul George likely to miss the entire first round. Yeah. So speaking about that, Allie, was this a fluke win right here without Paul George, or can they make this? Can they make a run and win this even without Paul George?
I don't know, because I've seen, you know, our Nets and how much the roster has changed and how much the season has changed, and starting off with one coach and now having a completely different coach. And it's been a roller coaster, to say the least. And I feel like we've had games where we didn't have any of our, you know, star players. We've almost it felt like the energy of like a G League game, but they pulled it off. And obviously that's regular season. We're not talking about playoffs, but I don't know. Like, and then for the Suns, KD, again, I've seen him. I know what he can do when he's healthy. Like all the star players, when they're healthy, how they perform. So seeing, making sure he's good. And obviously he had his injuries with us in Brooklyn. When he went down to the Suns, automatically right off the bat, he had his issues. So I don't know if it was a fluke thing. I think if KD's good and he's playing well and he's feeling good and he's not injured, without Paul George, I don't know. I feel like I want to see the Suns kind of come out of this. I'm not sure exactly though. I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough to predict. I'm not sure now that we know George is out for the entire series. It's definitely tough to predict, but I can see the Suns coming out of this. I won't say that means that the Clippers win was a fluke though. I do think they play really well and I think they have each other's back and it's a well-oiled machine. I just think that I can see the Suns coming out.
I spoke to Dom Lewis yesterday after the game and said, hey, big win. He did not seem like he was he seemed very much like, we'll see how the rest of the series goes. He did not. I was expecting to be pumped up. His team's up 1-0 on the road. They steal a road game, and he was kind of like, "Oh, we'll see how they do game 2." He was very Eeyore about it. So
it's hesitant. We're hesitant.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get excited yet.
That's smart, but I think the Clippers absolutely can win this without Paul George because of one big thing. In the NBA, you need a bench. The Suns, that's their Achilles heels. They do not have a bench, and the Clippers do. And also, in playoffs, the game changes from a fast break game to a half-court game, right? And now your skills get diminished based on defense and heart. And that's one thing a guy named Russell Westbrook has, right? He was 3 for 19, but it means absolutely nothing because when it was down, when they needed it, he stepped up. That block on Booker and why Booker's crying to the ref about getting a foul. And in all fairness to Devin, he was fouled, but the ref didn't call it. So you can't cry about something that they didn't call. They didn't see it. He's not going to make the call. And what did Westbrook do? Catch the ball and throw it off his leg, get it out of bounds, Clippers ball, game over. You see what I mean? Like, hustle changes everything in the playoffs. The Clippers have nothing to lose, which is why they're going to beat the Suns. People, as soon as they got KD, it was like, oh, we won. No. You see what I'm saying? Chris Paul didn't even have 10 points yesterday. The Suns don't win when Chris Paul doesn't score in double figures, right? So Chris Paul has to step up. KD is going to do KD. He's miraculous. But again, he can't do it on his own. And the Clippers got dogs out there, and they want to beat them. And I'm telling you, the Suns are soft in that way. Ayton is getting eaten up in the paint. I thought Ayton was going to dominate.
Yeah, me
not.
too.
So I really see the Clippers doing an upset, like for real, because the Suns, of course, they're going to win 1, maybe 2, but we'll see. Because if the Clippers can play like they were playing yesterday, it might be a wrap for the Suns. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. And it'll be all KD's not who he was, all Devin Booker's, all that talk that will come out. But I really feel the Suns got to step it up. They gotta tighten up the bootstraps and put a little, use the big boy voice, put some bass in their voice and get down there and start playing some ball and stop crying all the time, looking for calls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm serious. Like that's what it is. So they better get out there and ball or they're going to be going home in the first round.
What about you, Nigel? What did you take out of the LA Clippers?
Listen, this is another series that I'm gonna have my eyes on because last night was electric. I'm over the Paul George conversation. I'm done with it because listen, he wasn't here for game 1. They don't need him. Just like Caleb said, just like Ali was kind of implying, they don't need him because right now they have what they have. And Westbrook was lightning last night. That guy had 9 points. But again, we're all saying the same thing. It was what he brought to the game, all the other things that he brought. Let Kawhi go be Kawhi. Kawhi had 38. Right. Let Kawhi be Kawhi. It's fine. But when you have Westbrook now in this kind of scheme where it fits him a little more, where he's just playing from heart and everybody's energized from him playing that way, he will stay on that trajectory and he will play that way. As long as he doesn't get out of his psyche where he feels like he's the man who needs to score more, that's when it's going to be a problem because then you'll have Kawhi and him clashing, right? And when we're talking about Ayton, I was shocked at how frustrated he became. He put in the work, but he's young too, man. He's a kid. So it's like we have these vets on the Clippers going against the Suns, and the Suns, because KD hasn't played with them before, and we've mentioned this before too, we're literally seeing them gel. Like, you could see moments of them being very scattered. The Suns were very scattered on the court for many times trying to run their plays, and they didn't know what was really going on. I think what we're going to see now is like the Clippers have the 1, Suns have 0 so far, 1-0. I think it will be this balance that's going to happen. I think it's eventually going to shift. I'm still rooting for the Suns. I still think the Suns will do it, but we're going to see them become a cohesive unit right in front of our eyes in this particular series. And then the Clippers are going to know what they have for next season as they have for the last couple of seasons, and hopefully go in and do some damage next year.
I think the Suns need to get cohesive during the series. They need to heal a little bit during the series. Because if they don't, then it is going to be Clippers. I believe I had the Suns in 7, so I have it going the distance anyway.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a hard-fought battle, and so I'm not surprised somebody won a road game. I think both teams are gonna win some road games.
The Suns don't want a 7th game. They do not want a 7th game with these Clippers. They do not. They do not.
I feel like that's their only chance at winning is if they get to a 7th game. I don't think they can. I think if it's a 6th game, I think if it's a 6th game in LA, the Clippers could close it out. I think they're gonna need to win. I think they're gonna need to win a road game.
They better not go down 2-0 in Phoenix.
That's it's over. It's a wrap if they do.
Better not.
Listen, Kawhi, they got players over there in LA. Kawhi's been battle tested. He's won a championship. He knows what it's like to go through those rigors of a hard fought series. So, and you know, Devin Booker, I know they've been to the finals before, but he's not there yet. He's still kind of young. He's still wet behind the ears.
He's still mad that Bad Bunny got his girl. He's still mad about that. Bad Bunny. He was like, he don't even speak English. How did he do that? You don't know. Apps now.
I think all the Puerto Ricans are mad about it too.
Stop.
She could just speak with her body, though, that Kendall. I'm going to tell you.
All right, so we're going to come back to headlines in a few minutes. Guys, let's talk a little bit of a little debate. Should the Pelicans trade Zion Williamson? The guy's been hurt.
Here's the thing.
Career. What do you think? Allie's got lots of thoughts on this. Go ahead, Allie. You go first.
Just like all the star players, because we can say this. Sorry, my Siri's like trying to. No, girl, I don't need you. I'm good, AI. Anyway, here's the thing. When he's good, but he's a big guy, right? The way that his style of play, he's explosive, a lot of jumping, and I'm not at all saying like slim down, but I'm thinking like if it's worth it to stay, if it's worth it to keep him because he's so effing good when he's healthy. Yeah. It might be in his best interest to, with the way that he plays, to slim down a little bit. Because otherwise, I do think it's worth it for them to keep him, see what happens next season. Otherwise, if you're looking to trade and he's, not to say damaged goods, but he's, injured and we know how he can be, that's what they're going to get in return. So is it worth the trade? Not necessarily yet. I don't think so. I think we should see what happens next season. And then they should make their choice from there because he is who he is. He's amazing, And so I do think it's worth it if a couple factors come into play there to help him out.
He's a human highlight reel when he's healthy. I mean, you see some of those dunks, when he gets a breakaway, he's going to do something really fantastic with it. But Nigel, would you if you had would you want him on your team? Would it be worth trading something big to bring him over to Toronto?
I'm not great at this conversation. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I still need to see him play a full season. I still need to see it. I just want to see how he gels with the team. I want to see how he plays. Like, we know how he dunks. We know what kind of energy he's bringing. But like down the stretch though, man, like where can he shoot from? Like, I don't even know what his range is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even think I know what his stroke looks like. Like, I mean, I just want to see more from this guy on a little bit more of a consistent basis. I find that he has to do one of two things. Ali, I'm with you 100%. Think about slimming down, if you're not doing that, my other thing is just adjust your style of play. Just adjust it there. That's all. Because what I love seeing is Shaq walking down the side of the court, court side, saying what's up to people. And he has some huge battle damage. He's a massive guy. I've met him. I know for a fact. But he knew how to change up his game. He knew how he slimmed down. He went through some weight fluctuations, but he figured it out. That's why he can still walk. He can still do things. I just don't want the opposite to happen for Zion, whatever his future may hold. If he even gets that far. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah. I mean, would Toronto want him? No. I mean, I would love to have him for a couple games to watch, but down the long run, I don't know.
I'm gonna say this, since Nigel and Allie are way more PC than I am. He needs to lose weight.
I'm Canadian, so I gotta be.
You're too heavy.
Yeah, Nigel's way too nice up north.
Right. Your joints are not built to take on that kind of massive weight, compressing, jumping, right? Mm-hmm. You need to develop a real basketball game. Be able to shoot a jump shot, buddy. You know what I mean? Everything can't be a dunk. And if it is, you only have a few seasons, which is the same way I feel about Ja Morant, who's half his weight, and Ja still can't sustain a career that way. You got to change the game. So Zion absolutely needs to lose weight and develop more of a game. In college, you can dominate doing all that stuff. Not in the NBA, right? Mm-hmm. No. That's not going to work. So I believe that. Should they trade him? No, I don't think they should right now. One, they got too much money invested in him. Yeah. And two, when he's on the floor with them, before Zion got hurt, they were number 2 in the West. Number 2.
Yeah.
Right? So that shows his value. Like, he does help. So I wouldn't get rid of him just yet. But he has to be more disciplined. They can't, they can say, hey, you need to lose weight. Hey, you need to lose weight. He's like, yeah, okay. Let me get 4 Big Macs, 3 large fries, 2 shakes.
To be fair, they do have in his contract, and he did okay. They do have in his contract where he can be routinely weighed, I think, 5 times a year. They're allowed to weigh him 5 times a year.
Yeah, but that's 5 times a year, and he's going to be notified. It's the same thing they used to do with the NBA drug test. All right, you ain't heard this from me, but you know what I mean? So it's way different. I think he has to decide that. It's the same thing Nigel brought up Shaq. It was what Kobe's issue was. Shaq said in his documentary, I was so much better than everybody. I didn't even train in the summer. Because what do I need to get up for these bums for? So Shaq would go from 280 to 340. Mm-hmm. And you playing with Kobe? Kobe's like, yo, right? And it would take Shaq 4 or 5 months just to get in player shape.
Yep.
Just to get in shape, right? That you can't sustain a career. And what started happening was Shaq started getting injured. And it was like a bone in his foot. Oh, this ligament in his ankle, right? It's stuff like that. That's weight coming down. And it's what destroyed Yao Ming. So again, I think he has to decide how bad he wants it and who he wants to be. He's already made more money than what he'll need in his lifetime already. So it's time to make his legacy, who he's going to be. And that depends on who Zion is in here. That's all.
And in here.
That's right.
So let me ask you this then. So if you're the Pelicans, you hold on to him to see what you got first, right? If
One more season. I agree with Allie.
Yeah.
So if hypothetically the Pelicans were willing to say, hey, listen, maybe we move on this year, say they were, would you as another team be willing to take a flyer on him at fair trade value? At fair trade value, would you be willing to say, which is going to be over the trade value because we don't know really what, he could come back next year and play 5 games and then get injured all year. But would you be willing to trade fair value for a healthy Zion for him?
Healthy and dedicated, yes.
But not knowing that he's going to be healthy.
Somewhere in the contract, it's like, let's, you're working out X amount of times, but like really actually weighing in maybe more than 5 times a season, and not to make it about weight. Like, you're right, Nigel. He has the 2 options. He could make it work for him by changing his style or just changing from internal and seeing how that plays out. But I think, I don't know. Caleb, what were you saying? I feel like I interrupted you.
No, I was just going to say I would, yes, healthy, but it's going to be dedicated. And what I would do is I would say, look, I'm going to help you. I'm gonna take care of your chef. 7 days a week, there's a chef there. 2 days, 1 day out the week, you can eat whatever you want. You see The Rock in his cheat days. He got 5 pizzas, 30 pancakes, all of that. But the other 6 days, he's eating frozen broccoli pops. You know what I'm saying? It's like we need that with Zion, like because some people have the body type that when they eat, like overeat, they get really big. right? He's one of them. You know what I'm saying? So he has to watch all that, especially while he's playing, like in these years, because it's what it does to his actual body, right? The joints, the ligaments, the things that hold everything together. Not so much his bones, it's the joints and ligaments that give you the issue. So he has to be dedicated, man. And if he's not, then he's not worth it, because he's only going to give you 45, 50 games, and just say he gives you 60, but he's not going to be available in the playoffs when it matters. So who cares? Who cares if you make it to the playoffs and you're out in the first round every year? You know what I mean?
And that's the thing too. Can he transition to playing with a smaller body though? That's my only concern. Is he's been this body type,
which is why he has to develop a better game,
better jump shot.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to. He better watch old Charles Barkley videos, how Charles used to play. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah. No, listen, Charles had the same kind of body type at that point.
That's right.
Got a little bit more muscle than Charles did. But similar body type. And the other thing too is he takes wear and tear too, because not only is it's a lot of weight on his joints and on his knees, on his feet and everything else. He's got the style where he bangs in the inside. So he's got, all that collision with not just the floor, but other players, that starts to take a toll. It's the reason why running backs don't last so long. It starts to take a toll on your body, besides just the actual running up and down the court. So, listen, would I would love to see him on my Knicks 100%. Would I be willing to overpay a little bit just because of the opportunity that what he can be when healthy? I probably hate it when they do it, or I probably love it when they do it, but I probably at one point will regret doing it. Later on.
I don't think he's a generational talent to break the bank when he's that kind of injury prone. Like, to me, AD is more valuable than him when it comes to it. Because even AD gets hurt all the time, but AD can shoot the three. He can hit his free throws. He can bang in the middle. He can get down low. He can rebound. He can block shots. Like he can do it all. He just can't stay healthy. And to me, his can't stay healthy versus Zion's can't stay healthy. I take AD's over his because AD can give me more.
All I'm saying is that if I was given a contract with millions and millions and millions of dollars and they were like, sorry, we have to keep you in the best shape of your life, I would just be like,
most people would be like, yo, send me the chef, send me the trainer, let's do it.
Like, sorry, we have to cook the best for you to really fuel your body so that you feel your best, and we'll pay you millions of dollars. Count me in. Like, what team do I need to be on to get that contract? I mean, but like you said, it comes down to the mindset. How much is he willing to create that routine, to be consistent with it, and to go, to a place physically he hasn't been? I don't know. That's entirely up to him. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, they should give it one more season and see if those are, things he's willing to explore, which if I were him would be a no-brainer. But, it's
the thing that I feel bad for the Pelicans fans is they just signed him to a huge contract. They had the max contract they just signed him to. So the money's there. It's not like you're worrying about him walking away from the team. It's just him actually being able to be healthy enough to play. And hopefully they get it right, because that's such an amazing talent, an immense talent. That was only in what 30 games, but it just shows you how dominant he can be when he does play. He's got to change up the body to be healthy. But
just imagine for 1 second. Just take a walk with me. Now we're watching the Pelicans game and we are deep into the season, and now Zion gets the ball and he can be anywhere on the court and he's a threat anywhere.
Yeah.
Imagine, that would truly be. Now I'm excited to go see the Raptors play the Pelicans, here at home. I'm excited to do that. I'm excited to go see how we're gonna play, how we're gonna D up on him, because now he has the ability to take it and drive, kind of like a little LeBron, if you will. He could take it and drive, or you never know, he could post you up and all of a sudden do a turnaround fadeaway, and it works. That would be amazing. And I don't think he's far from it. But again, we've all said the same thing. It's that dedication, man. We don't know the guy, so we're not really, abreast of what he's thinking mentally or where he actually is. But man, I just wished so much more for his body and for his mental stability and just his game. I just want to see him. I just want to see him play. What I mean?
Yeah, I get it. All right, let's get back into some headlines. Nuggets rout the T-Wolves 109-80. Pretty much a ho-hum game. I think it's pretty much what everybody expected from this. No, Caleb?
Absolutely. I mean, Jokic yesterday was actually, I think, even though I picked Giannis as the MVP, you see the value of Jokic, the way that he was running the floor. He was the floor general last night. The passes that dude was making were like Magic Johnson type. Yep. Like, it was insane. I enjoyed it. Like I was just watching him like, wow, this dude is phenomenal. Like, he just understands the game so well, and he doesn't do a lot. Like, and I don't mean a lot like he's not doing stuff. What I mean is it's very small. Like, he saves his energy. If he was a fighter, he could go all 12 rounds because he just knows how to dolly out his energy and when to conserve it and when to go. And he's not pedal to the metal like a Russell Westbrook. He chooses his spots, and I'm telling you, that dude is something else. Like, his basketball IQ is next level. It really is. I was way more impressed with him yesterday just watching it. Now, okay, it's the Timberwolves he's playing. Okay, but the way he picked, it's like a fighter who's supposed to beat somebody and they do, but they beat them just break them down. That's what that was like yesterday watching it. Like, it was just perfection what he put on a show. Absolutely.
14 assists. He's a point guard in a 7-foot frame. He really is. And not only does he just pass the ball a lot, he passes like, you remember what was the old Jason Williams? He has like some nifty passing moves, man. He's not just throwing the ball and getting, he actually has some, he'll hit you with the behind the back, no look passes like any of these top point guards will do too. Are we looking at, is this pretty much the series? I mean, we're gonna see can we see a sweep here?
This is over. It's a wrap. They might get one. It might be a gentleman's sweep. Where they let you get one. You know what I mean? So
a good day to you and good day to you.
That's right. Good day to you,
with your Canadian manners up there.
Appreciate you, sir. Good day.
I agree, Caleb. I didn't see it because I was just MLS. I was working MLS all weekend, but from what I've heard and from what I'm just gathering from just the game and your explanation, it's I feel like I'm with you. It's over. I don't know. We'll see. But I'd be kind of surprised if it wasn't.
Yeah, you can't score 80 points and expect to win a series, man. Like what are we doing here? Like, you can't, almost every game so far has been 100 and above. You can't get 80 and expect to win a series on a consistent basis, especially not against Denver Nuggets. There's no way. I mean, every one of their starters was in double digits, man. Everyone. It's how are you you need to step up in the biggest way to even compete with that, and if it's not their double digits and their points, then they're getting rebounds off you. Like, they're just too much for Minnesota. We know what Minnesota is, and it's unfortunate. My hat goes off to them for making it. Thank you for validating my pick, but it's a wrap for them.
80 points, again, that was even a low scoring game for the 80s and 90s where defense really reigned supreme in the NBA. But was it Minnesota only scoring 80, or was it Denver holding Minnesota to 80?
Can we say both?
I mean, I think it's both, because offensively they couldn't do anything, and Denver isn't excellent defensively. No, like they're okay. They're not terrible, but they're not like locked down. It's Memphis. It's Minnesota. It's the same thing they had when they played the Lakers in the play-in game. It's like they didn't have the firepower to compete. And I think that's going to be their Achilles heel. They can't score.
Good point. All right. And then we got coming up, Kings edge out the Warriors 126-123. Might have been one of the more fun games of the weekend. Nigel, what was your impression of this game, man? What did you think?
This is another wild one, man. Again, I think I've given all my love to the West, because this one's just going to be bananas. I feel like this was going to happen. I feel like with the energy and with the storyline, Sacramento have not been in the playoffs since 2006 or something. I mean, right there is enough energy for that city, for those players, for those fans to stand up. And the question now is, I know it's only been one game, but the question now is, who is this Golden State team? Are they still the champions, the champions of old? Are they going to run table like once they've gotten this one punch in the mouth? Are they going to wake up? because that's what a true champion is. I think they will. Mm-hmm. I think they still will win the series. But I think that was a very frustrating game for them. And I don't think they were prepared. And I think that Sacramento is going to be a real pain in the ass for them, man. But the Golden State's going to come back. That's where all my money is. That's my squad. But whew, it's they got to shape up. Yeah.
Upset, but proud of the Kings. I kind of would love to see them come out of this. Again, agreeing with you that I don't see that happening, but would like to see that. And kind of like that underdog feeling of just, well, they're both, in Cali. Like, so I feel like, the fans are kind of divided, but they're both like, all right, well, I'm okay with either of them coming out of the series, but it would be nice to see the Kings, I feel, even though I do agree that the Warriors are going to come out.
I'll tell you what, Wiggins finally returning 17 points off the bench, Poole 17 points off the bench. Again, listen, anyone can lose, any 6 seed can lose to a 3 seed on the road, right? I mean, Sacramento, the place was rocking. It was their first playoff game, so what, I think it was 06, you said, something like that.
I think the energy helps too. It really does.
The crowd
really keeps the players like plugged in and wanting to just be, and either way, like playoffs off is, for all the marbles anyway. But when it's home after that much time with the fans who feel like they need it, they deserve it, you feel that energy on the court.
And that's the thing too. Go ahead, Caleb.
No, so I'm gonna say this. Sorry, I had to switch locations right quick because it's gonna get noisy downstairs. But here's what I'm gonna say about I'm in the King's lair right now. So anyway, the thing with the Golden State Kings series, right? Here's why I think Golden State is gonna win. Because they could have won that game, but they missed 2 3-pointers that usually go in. If Steph hits that 3, done. And that's Steph Curry. Yeah. How many times you think he's going? You think he's not thinking, damn, that one I missed. It's like that was the best the Kings had to offer. Darren Fox had to go off to barely beat them. When are you kidding? Like, those guys are too experienced. They play too well. And let me tell you, Andrew Wiggins, he missed 3. He had a 3 wide open that he missed. That's not gonna happen. Like, I'm telling you, like the Kings had to give so much just for that one victory. I think Golden State got them. Even though they lost, they already got them because Steph is going to ball out. And here's the deal. It's not just Steph. It's when Clay gets hot. Because, Clay can go for 40 in 1 quarter. You know what I mean? And don't let Jordan Poole start busting. Don't let these other guys start hitting. Then it's a wrap. And Wiggins, defense, listen, they're going to put him on Fox. Watch what happens. They got Gary Payton II, whose defense is I'm telling you, the Warriors are going to it'll go to 7. If it goes to 7 games, Warriors win because they can just shoot better than everybody else. And that's what it comes down to. Steph ain't going to miss an open 3-point look again to win a game. He's not going to miss that. You know what I mean? So if I was the Kings, I'd be happy I won, but I'd be really like, okay, we gotta tighten this ship because they easily could have won that game. Had Steph Curry hit that shot, it's a wrap. If Wiggins hit that 3 in the corner that he missed, they would have won. You see what I mean? Yes. As good as the Kings played, they still would have lost. It came down to just the Warriors beating themselves, missing a shot. So I don't know.
Listen, we all expected the Kings to at least win a game, right? So the fact that they win their first one at home isn't really a shocker. I think anyone that had the Warriors in the series knew that the Warriors were going to lose a game. They were going to probably lose that game somewhere in Sacramento. Just the fact that it's the first game doesn't really mean anything to me. I thought they'd split anyway. So now it means that they lose the first one. I think they come back out and I think they win the second. And I'll be honest, I think they win the next 2 after that. I think they sweep in Golden State. I still have them winning in 6. This doesn't change my aspect of how the series goes.
I couldn't tell you that you were wrong. If you have the Warriors in 6, I couldn't say that you were wrong. You know what I mean? Because I saw it with my own eyes. I was like, these dudes is gonna win. Now I'll tell you, no, you letting Steph shoot? I'm like, it's a wrap, and he just happened to miss.
And let me say this too: Wiggins hasn't played in a long time, so he's getting. He still doesn't have his rhythm yet. He played 28 minutes and had 17 points, but he was also even with 17 points, he was still 1 of 8 from 3-point range. Imagine if a couple of those go in, he's got over 20 points.
If he would have been 2 of 9, they win the game. If he would have been 2 out of 9, they win the game.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You know, there's two different conversations that are happening in the change rooms after game one. The first conversation was Sacramento. Foxy was in the change room with the boys. Yeah, like they're on the court. He does a post-game interview. Let's go. High fives and whatever. Then they all get into their lockers. They sit there and they're like, oh, man, we're screwed, man. Because they know what happened. They know what happened. And then the other conversation, the Golden State in the visitors change room is like Wiggins saying, man, I'm sorry, dudes. And you know, like Curry saying the same thing. Don't worry about it. It's on me. I'm sorry, dudes. Collectively, as a team, they're just like, that will never happen again. And that's what's going to happen. They've all seen
the
red.
Best version of the Kings.
Yeah, that's what you're right. You're right. That's what the two storylines are going to be, and it's going to be just a bloodbath from here. That's what I think. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm not going to be as polite anymore. I'm just going to say it's going to be a bloodbath right now. Like those Kings beheaded everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be bad.
Wow, taking a turn.
No,
we love it. We love it down south. We love it down south over here.
Down south for sure. Even though me and Allie are like, wait, what? We're in New York. All right, so Knicks take game 1 on the road, beat the Cavs 101-97. Allie, big game for the Knicks, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's very exciting. Obviously, you know, with the Rangers, Islanders, Knicks, Nets all in playoffs. I mean, this
first
was
time since '94.
that it's amazing. So I'm just proud to be a New Yorker, even though I root openly for the Nets. I would never not root for the Knicks. So I'm happy. I'm hoping they come out of this. I think, why not? Yeah. Stay hopeful. Stay positive. Caleb, you're wiping some sweat away there. What are your thoughts?
Because you didn't see I'm sweating because of all this orange and blue sky that's around here. You know what I mean? I'm melting underneath it. I think the Knicks win this, right? I'm picking the Knicks in 6, right? I'm giving you the game where Donovan Mitchell just goes off but it's not enough.
I was going to say the same thing.
Deep. The Knicks are deep. They got players. They don't need Julius Randle can have an off night and they still win. Donovan Mitchell has an off night. It's a wrap. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's the different type. And I think that Jalen Brunson,
worth every penny. Worth every penny.
Totally.
He's a tragedy, right? He's a real point guard and he's a baller. And I think with all the help that they got, it's orange and blue skies in Cleveland. Like, it's a wrap. I think I'll say 6, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happened in 5. I'm not gonna say it's the broom, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a gentleman's sweep. You know what I mean? I can see Brunson saying, pardon me, but
a good day to you, sir.
Great Poupon.
A good day to you.
And that's the thing. You can let Donovan Mitchell score 50 points a game. That's fine because there's nobody else on that squad that really makes you nervous. There's good role players like Garland's good, Mobley's good. Isaac Okoro is so good defensively, but on offense, he's basically like it's usually with him on offense, it's like you're going 5 against 4 because he's a 0 on offense. He's not gonna do. Listen, defensively, that perimeter defense, one of the best on the team, one of the best in the league. But he's going to offer nothing offensively for the Cavaliers. So as long as you have that, it's like you're playing 5-on-4 when you're on defense because you don't even got to worry about him. But I have the Knicks in 6. I would take 5. I'd love 5. I think they'd probably maybe lose a close game next game in Cleveland, but I think they could sweep in the Garden. Nigel, what was your take on this one?
It was fine. I
mean, wait, what?
It's fine.
He's just pissy because this team's not even in the tournament.
He's like, I've seen that.
Yeah. Listen, and honestly, you're not wrong, Gene. You're not wrong. I do feel very close to the Knicks in terms of like the parallelisms of my raps. I'm like, well, who's that team that could kind of tip the scales? Like this is going to be a good series between, the Cavs and the Knicks, but I said it early when we were starting this pod is that the Knicks need to be here. They need to be here. They need to show up, not only for themselves, but for the city, for the actual NBA. Yeah. Like they need to show up, man.
We've been saying that for 20 years. We've been saying that the NBA needs a New York team. It hasn't mattered.
Yeah.
Not since they gave us Patrick Ewing with the frozen envelope as the conspiracy says.
Oh,
Have they helped us out in the lottery at all? So
yeah. So I mean,
I don't know, Nigel. I'm just seeing like the Knicks orange hoodie on you, and I'm just thinking like, maybe it's a subconscious support.
Is that what it's about? I like it. Thank you.
I may or may not have a couple items of Knick swag that I may.
Do we have a Knicks hat? Do we have a Knicks hat?
4 Knick hats.
Yeah, I got two.
You gotta wear one for me, man. Just wear one for me and Allie at least, please.
Yeah, you got it. Next week, I guess. Yeah, whenever.
If they win, when they beat Cleveland, they'll come out with
a Knicks hat. I'll take it. All right. And then what else we got? We got the 76ers beat the Nets. Sorry about that, Allie.
It's okay. I don't want to say it's as expected because, of course, I'm holding out hope that, I do think Nets are going to win at least one at home, right? We got a game Thursday. We got one Saturday. I do think they can pull it out for sure. I do see the 76ers, though, going further, coming out of the series. Like I said earlier, and I know that below their flash, like, what was the question? Which NBA players' legacy will benefit the most from championship? I'm going to go ahead and double down on Joel Embiid. And so just his stats are there. I think he's ready for the MVP title. I think it is going to be the 76ers, but again, love the Nets, hoping to see some wins at home as I work the games. It'd be nice energy for me to be in a winning Barclays Center. So, we'll see.
I'll tell you what, it seemed to me at times Philly looked bored at times. I mean, I that's what would scare me as a Nets fan, and I'm not a Nets fan, I'm a Knicks fan, but it would scare me if I was a fan of the Nets, is Philly at times, like it was very like a very ho-hum offensive game. Like Embiid didn't have to do much. He kind of just had a regular game. Everybody had like a regular game. Now, do I think it's because you have some young players in Brooklyn that, obviously all those old vets are gone now. Kyrie's gone and Durant's gone. And, I love Brooklyn Bridges. I think what he's doing over there is fantastic.
Yeah, Mikhail's great.
I think he's awesome. And I think so they got some players. It's not like they got fool's gold for the players they gave up. They got some good stuff in return. I would love to see, just being a New Yorker, obviously a Knicks fan, but I would love to see Brooklyn still be just as good.
Of course.
Because wouldn't you love that rivalry back and forth? But I'll tell you, the thing that would scare me as a Nets fan is Philly didn't even look like they were firing on all cylinders. They looked like they kind of just ran through the motions yesterday, and they still routed them. Caleb, what was your interpretation of how Philly was offensively?
I mean, they were just in sync, and they were in Philly, so they were hype, and they want to make statements. You know what I mean? Like, teams want to make statements. It's like what Boston did. They made a statement. You know what I mean? And I think the same thing went with Philly. Like, I see that, and I don't want to hurt Miss Allie's feelings, but I'm feeling like this one is the closest one to a broom. That one in the Celtics series, like I could see a broom in these ones. Like I really could.
It's fair to say.
I expect the Nets to win a game, but again, I guess I'm just on my gentleman stuff today because I feel like definitely 5. You know what I mean?
Good day to you, sir.
Go home to your kids. Good day to you. I bid you adieu. That's how I'm feeling. I just think I don't see the Nets beating this team, not right now.
Yeah. You know what? Like I said, I felt like it was the smoothest, easiest 120-point game I think I've ever seen in my life. Like 120 points is a lot. They did it where it was like you blinked, you're like, oh wow, I didn't even realize they scored that much just because it was like they had.
But they won't hit 21 threes in a game again.
No,
that was abnormal. 21.
Good point. Good point. I mean, yeah.
If you told me the Warriors hit 21, I'd say, oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But not the Sixers.
Well, that's the thing too. They're streaky, the Sixers. Harden's a streaky player.
That was abnormal, though. That's an abnormality. Like 21 threes for the 76ers. Jeez. That I don't expect to see again from them.
I hear you. Now, we also got the Celtics beating the Hawks. Brown battles through that injured hand. You opened that wound on the hand. Nigel, if that turns out to be something that's going to haunt him for the rest of the series, does that make this a series? Does Atlanta have a shot if Brown can't keep that wound closed?
Listen, Atlanta's scrappy. Yeah, Atlanta's scrappy. So I feel like if there's like a little bit of blood in the water, the term blood in the water, and the Sharks come. Like I feel like that's what's happening. I feel like if Brown can't get that thing together, if they can't figure it out, Atlanta might do something dangerous, man, and they might push them. And there's nothing. I was going to say this about the 76ers Nets game as well. I don't ever want to play in Philly. I don't ever want to play in Boston because those two. I mean, I would love to if I had the opportunity. Of course, I would. But you get what I mean. But being a visiting team, the atmospheres there, man,
the fans are tough. Fans
rabid.
are tough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just feel like, however way this goes, Atlanta is the one team, is one of the maybe 2 or 3 teams in the league that feels no ways about other teams. Feels no ways about the fans. They could care less if anybody was watching the game. So I feel like this could be dangerous, man, for the Celtics. It could be dangerous. I'm gonna say here first, the Atlanta could shock them, take it to 7 or win.
Another thing, if Young is too big of a piece on that offense, he needs to go more than 5 of 18. He needs to score more than one basket. He needs to average more than one basket a period, right? I mean, 5. He only made five buckets the whole game out of 18 shots.
I'm gonna say this: Nigel is my man, 50 grand, and I'm about to give y'all a little bit of knowledge you can't get in college. Here's the truth.
I can't.
The Hawks have a better chance of spreading chunky peanut butter on a lion's ass than they do of beating these Celtics, even without Jaylen Brown. Okay?
But why was the visual so detailed?
More visual.
There's no way. First of all, it's not even, let's take it off of the court. They have internal issues. They're dealing with Ice Tray. Ice Tray don't like the coach. Coach don't like him. He don't like the organization. He don't even want to be there. So you can't win when you're playing like that. He don't like his teammates. They don't like him. You know what I mean? It's like they're dysfunctional. So then to play against a team such as Boston, and I understand Jaylen Brown is a boss and Celtics need him for the rest, but they don't need him this series. He should take a break and let that hand get a little bit more healed. Put some Neosporin on it or something. Do something else so you could be ready for the next round.
Peanut butter on it or something like that.
Because I tell you this, it's a wrap in this series. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. They're not winning. And it's not because so much the Celtics are so much better. It's because the Hawks are dysfunctional internally.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's what the issue is.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? Let's talk a little. I'll tell you, this is where I'm concerned. I'm concerned for Nigel because this is his hometown, and I was under the impression that they were super polite in Toronto. But DeMar DeRozan's daughter has faced some online threats in Toronto. What's going on up there? You're supposed to be the nice people.
I've been doing my best to not show you this side of me.
I can't see these.
We can get vicious here, but it's again. But a lot of that, even if you do your research, a lot of that is the fact that it had a lot of just kind of unsportsmanlike vibe to it. It was just like, listen, let the girl scream a couple times, cool, man. But dude, like, she needs to stop. Like, she's just quit it for the love of the game, for the mentality of people watching at home. The broadcast could even hear, like, there's nothing that you can do.
Blatantly obvious, even on the broadcast.
Right?
I'm going to be fully honest. I'm not familiar with the story. Give me the quick rundown.
Do you want to give it, Nigel, since
Sure,
it's your town?
So Chicago comes to town. It's
Tell
going
them
to be
why you mad, son. Tell them why you mad.
He flips his hat backwards. It's his alter ego.
God damn it. Chicago comes into our house. And what happens is DeRozan's daughter, DR, is that it? How you pronounce it?
I believe it's DR.
DR. So she's sitting courtside, and every time there's a foul and the Raptors have to shoot a free throw, the stadium is dead silent because everybody wants them to focus, except for her. She is timing up these shrill screams that are almost perfectly in sync, just as the Raptors release. Literally the whole game, from the tip off to the final free throws, we ended up missing. Again, I want to make sure I'm very clear about this. I'm not saying that's the reason why we only had 18 free throws. That's the only reason why we had 50% from the free throw line that night. I'm saying it was annoying as hell to have this little girl screaming and her dad being like, "Is that my daughter? Huh. Cool," and then keep playing. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
so
yeah,
it was
I'm not a
so
big fan.
yeah. So the fans got upset, and then so Security had to come
out.
Escort her out
A
because
9-year-old.
online people were losing their minds.
Yeah, I like a healthy chirping. I'm all for it, but I think in certain situations it can get out of hand and it can be rude and it can be like a little
That's what it
classless.
was.
So
It was. I had no problem with the unsportsmanlike because fans can do what they want. Listen, they pay the ticket, they can do what they want. But picture being sitting there watching the game and hearing this girl next to you scream, not scream like cheer, scream
no,
like
that's
a screeching shrill scream at the top of her lungs.
God. How old is she?
9 years old, and so you feel bad even saying.
Okay,
it.
so let's not like rip too much on her.
She's 37.
She was 3 years old. It's like what?
But I get it though. Could you imagine picture being at any game and sitting next to someone doing that? Like, I want to just enjoy the game. Forget about it. I don't even care that you're messing up the free throws. I just want to enjoy the game and I have you screaming in my ear. So I get it. Like, listen, we've all encountered being somewhere else and encountered an annoying kid, right? Like, it's all it is. And as an adult, you can't say nothing because you're never winning, no matter how right or how wrong the kid is. You can't win those arguments. So it's more than you just gotta leave it and move on. But I just thought it was funny that.
What's funny is all the Toronto Raptor fans that were upset, and they were. Have y'all? I know you guys are all familiar with The Simpsons. You ever see when Ned Flanders gets mad at Homer and the way that he curses because he's so nice? It's like that.
That's how Nigel curses.
As soon as we sign off today, I'm just gonna swear for 30 minutes straight. Like I'm just gonna be so upset with everything. Oh, Caleb and he's my
Oh, that was funny.
Oh my God.
All right. So what else we got? We got this is a pretty big one. Mavericks management wanted to tank earlier, but Doncic and Kyrie Irving refused to sit. Big news, especially affecting me because I am a Knicks fan. If they finished in the 11th or later in the draft, it goes to the Knicks. 10 and earlier, it stays in Dallas. So I'm personally affected by. Well, personally, I'm not a Knick, but I'm personally affected as a Knicks fan that we might lose this pick. They will only find $750,000, which I get. That's a hit in the pocket, right? But for Mark Cuban, that's like he has more in his couch cushion than $750,000. So to say that, I feel like they get and to be able to keep that pick. We have so much proof now that they tanked. Is $750,000 enough of a penance, Caleb?
No, and it's not even a penance. It should be stupid. You shouldn't be penalizing them. It's strategy. If it wasn't, you wouldn't have that. Why would they know if I do this, I get this and this pick? It's all strategy. They're strategically placing themselves to get a pick so they can improve their team. It's no different than having a strategy against another team.
But if you get caught, should you be penalized if you get caught? Just be better at it. Don't get caught.
Yes, you should be penalized.
Okay.
Yes, you should. And that's why all the owners are billionaires, so that stuff don't matter, right? It's a hollow threat. It's dumb. It's like, of course they know that. Teams do it all the time. The Sixers did it for years. They called it trust the process.
Yep, the process.
NFL teams do it. Everybody does it. It's part of the game, right? It's part of strategically placing yourself so you can get a higher draft pick. It's what it is. So to me, all the uproar about it is dumb. Like, it's part of the game. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be in there. It would all be random. If they kept it random and nobody knows where you'll be, then people won't do it because they don't know if it'll affect them or not. But when you know, of course you're gonna say, take a knee. We don't want you to play. We don't want to win this game. You know what I mean? And Doncic and Kyrie can't publicly appear to agree. So, of course, they have to, I wanted to play. Okay. Right? It's like they're trying to win. They want to get another pick so they can get together, so they can try to do something. Like, that's really all it is. Like, to me, it's a bunch of do about nothing. It's dumb to even be upset about it. It's just the way the real world is, folks. That's how it is.
I get it. And I agree.
I mean? Like,
it's a strategy, and I agree that people do it. Tampering happens with free agents. I get it. My only beef is then be better at it and don't get caught. If you don't get caught, if there's no proof, but this is
but like it's obvious.
But it's so obvious. But here's the way to stop it.
And Luka both sitting. And nobody's
Luka played for 1 quarter of that final game. The only reason why he played is because it was was it Slovenia? What country is he from? Whatever it was, they had like some type of thing for his home country, which is why he had to play at least a little bit. But I'll tell you what, the only way, listen, like you said, these guys are billionaires. The money doesn't mean anything. The only way to stop it, the only way that you can put a real penalty on it is, you know what, that pick you thought you were getting, you don't get it anymore. The only way now to fix that is they don't get that 10th pick.
But the NBA doesn't want that. The NBA actually wants the Mavericks to get the pick. They want Luka Doncic in the playoffs.
Luka Doncic is going to be Nick in a couple years.
The ratings go up. The ratings go up when Luka's there. Look. I'm gonna say
I love the guy.
and I hope nobody. It's like the fact that he's a white dude who can ball like that helps with the ratings. The white audience of the NBA likes to see a white boy who can hang with the blacks. That's why Larry Bird got all that he got. Like, I'm trying to tell you, they like that. It helps with the ratings. So of course they want the Mavericks.
Now I feel bad that I'm a Luka fan. I feel dirty about being a Luka fan now. Maybe I shouldn't be.
No. But I love Luka Doncic. But what I'm saying is, let's not be blind to the ratings. When they won last year, when Luka did that Game 7 against the Suns and beat them, and all, man, the ratings were through the roof to see that dude play. He don't even have to be American. He just needs to be white and hang and be able to ball with the brothers. And it's not anything like negative racism or nothing. No, it's all part of it. But we can't act like that's not that doesn't add to the theater of sport.
I agree.
It does.
I get that. I can see that.
Yeah. So it's not a bad thing. So my point is, the NBA wants Luka to have a team that gets him into the playoffs. You know what I mean?
I get
He's funner to watch than Jokic. Jokic is closer to Tim Duncan. Boring, but effective. Luka plays like a flashy dude, busting on you, talking mess, all of that. They like that.
I could see him being a Knick in a few years. I could see the Knicks trying to grab him real quick.
Mark Cuban's never letting him go.
He might not have it. He might not. If Luka wants to go, I know the max money and stuff, but I don't think he'll ever trade him on their own. He might have to leave as a free agent, but I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, he might. Because he's going to want to win.
Could you picture him? Take this Knicks team now and put him on that Knicks team. In place of like RJ Barrett, could not only being a good team, how good they'd be, but just could you imagine him coming to New York and basically being that final piece in New York? And
if he was on that team right now, if he was on the Knicks right now, they would be competing for the Eastern Conference Championship. I'm telling you right now.
And that's what I'm saying. And think about it for and maybe you guys don't. I know Allie can agree with me because we're from here, so we see it. The next guy that comes here and leads us to a championship is never going to pay for a drink for the rest of his life in New York. He's going to have a statue in front of the Garden. He is going to be looked upon as a sports god in New York. For that next guy that's able to come to New York and make that happen. And if it was him,
man, he might get firstborn sons in New York.
Oh, there'll be a lot of Lucas. There'll be a lot of
Jalen Brunson.
My nephew is Luka.
There you go.
You already got one.
You already got one. There you go.
But yeah, I mean, every player, I feel like most players want to go when they're, especially, being drafted, they want to go to the Knicks. Even though the Knicks haven't won in
they just want to come as free agents. But
it's just exciting to be a part of the New York Knicks. And that's exciting, it's very
I think players got to relish the opportunity to be able to turn that franchise around. I know Williamson wanted to come here. I mean, I look back now and saying, thank God he didn't. But RJ Barrett hasn't been that great. He's kind of regressed this year anyway. But all right, so let's bring this over to Ja Morant files his countersuit. I don't know if we all know
Leave that kid alone, Ja. Leave that kid alone.
I agree. Just
ridiculous.
Leave it alone. Move past it. Pay off the money you got to pay off, and let it be in your past. Why?
Yes.
I mean, I get why he's doing it to an extent, but it's so easy for him to just let this thing go and die.
It looks petty.
His thought is that he thinks it's going to hurt his chance at making an All-NBA team and missing out on a Supermax contract.
No, you want to know what hurt you? Making
dancing around in a club with a gun,
having a gun in your picture like this on camera in a strip club. You big dummy. That's what's going to keep you off the team. Not because a kid you countersuing the kid. Like, get out of here with that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's going to do.
Everything to bed. Like, I feel like anything that he can minimize that isn't NBA related, he really needs to kind of just put that to the side and focus on bettering himself in his career. Like,
he needs some mentorship. What would be really good for Memphis to do is go get some older veteran, someone that can help kind of like basically calm him down a little bit, show him a little bit of the way to kind of like be a they got to get that elder statesman in the NBA. I'm blanking on who it would be. I'm not thinking of anybody a fan, but they got to get a veteran that can kind of be a calming presence to him and can be a good influence into him off the court as well. I think that's what he needs. Like, could you picture if he was LeBron's point guard? LeBron would lose his mind. LeBron's not letting that stuff happen. Someone like that can actually come in and lead that locker room and let Ja lead it too, because he's the point guard. He is the leader over there, but someone to basically be the elder statesman to basically keep that locker room in check and not let these kind of things happen. I think that's what Memphis really needs. That might be one of the things that hurts them in this playoff run right now is the Lakers got the old veterans. Memphis doesn't really have that. Memphis needs that, I think, to really make a real run. Forget about even the Ja thing. Just even think about them making a run. They need some veteran presence, some veteran leadership in that locker room.
I can see Shaq adding life coach to his resume. He already does every commercial.
He's a cop. Is he a pilot? He might be a pilot like Kareem was, but
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that hurts him. And Caleb, you're 100% right. Like, just let it die. Let it go away. It's easy enough to let it go away and just not have to worry about it. The fact that you're prolonging it and leaving it in the press, like, I be honest with you, I kind of forgot about it. The only reason why, like, he brought this up, this countersuit, that's the reason why I even remembered it. I didn't even remember that it happened. I was over it. I was now looking at the whole thing in the nightclub thing, which – again, I'm a Ja fan, so for me it was super depressing to see that. I'm hoping he gets everything together. He's got all the talent in the world. I hope he gets it together.
You just got to get smart. Like, come on, what are you doing? Exactly. Think about your priorities. Think about who you are and who you mean to be.
Who you represent.
Exactly.
So,
clean it up.
Definitely. So listen, this is a fun little debate topic. We're going to talk about whose legacy benefits most from an NBA championship this year. Who in the league right now playing in this tournament would benefit most with their legacy if they added a championship to their resume, this year's championship to their resume? Nigel, who do you got?
Joel Embiid. I want to make sure that I pronounce it properly and make sure that I'm very clear and succinct. There's nobody else in this playoff right now for me that needs the Larry O.B. There's nobody else, man. Like the guy – from trust the process to losing to my reps and you know, he needs this thing to happen. I think he's the sole beneficiary of getting a ring, because then we can just kind of put things to bed for a minute. Everybody could just chill out and focus on the next one for a minute. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't think Tatum's ready yet, and I don't think like Ice Trey, he's not going to get one. Like there's stars that are out there that I just don't think are ready. Mm-hmm. But I think Embiid just needs to get, and it hurts me. It pains me to say that, but I think he just needs one so we can all walk away.
Me too, Nigel. It's painful, but I agree that it's time and it's his time. So we'll see what happens. But I do think he's deserving of it.
You go.
Well, I'm sorry because I love you both, but I disagree with you both on this one.
Well, we knew that was coming. We knew that was coming.
That's fair. We like it.
Two players. There's two that are equal. Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul. They've been in the league too long and have never, ever won a title. Both of them are in the top 5 of NBA players with the most games played without a ring. Embiid got years ahead. Everybody you mentioned does. But these guys don't. And I think out of those two, for what's good, can you imagine if Westbrook won a title with the Clippers?
The ugly cry. The ugly cry.
You think his outfits are loud now? He might wear a pink fishnet leather suit. You know what I mean? Like Westbrook will. It'll be insane. And Chris Paul, just for his mind, just for his legacy, to have a ring would be so big for him. Like, I really think it's those two more than Embiid, more than anybody else. It's Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul, and they are running neck and neck, in my opinion. That's all.
If Chris Paul won it, and imagine, so like, you know, let's say they win it at home, confetti in the patch, everybody's losing it, he's hugging it, not letting it go. I feel like, you guys ever seen when the snap happened in the Marvel movies, like Infinity War? I feel like he's just gonna be like, and just disappear. We just never hear from him again. Chris Paul just gone. Because listen, Caleb, you're not wrong. You make a very, very, very good point, man. I agree with you. Westbrook, I'm like, man, but I get it. But the Chris Paul thing, sure, man, because his time for sure is running out. Like, literally, we're talking about 2 years, 3 years, like tops for him to get something. And if he doesn't get something, he's always going to be that. He's going to be that guy. He's going to be like because I just don't think he's going to be as popular as like a Barkley or like
him with no ring. It hurts his top 5 point guard of all time.
Easily.
All of that. So he really needs one. And for my own personal enjoyment, imagine the new Allstate commercials with Jake from State Farm when he gets a ring.
That's true.
I had two.
I love my favorite one is when he's speed walking. The race when he's speed walking is genius. The look on his face is so serious. I love it.
I had two as well, although, and I didn't have Westbrook. I did have Chris Paul. I had Chris Paul and KD. But first, let me say about Westbrook. That's a great call because
KD
Westbrook is
two, though, Gene.
But I'll say why. I'll say in a second why I say KD with this year. But I do want to touch on the Westbrook thing because I didn't even think about Westbrook because he's kind of been a little irrelevant the last year or two. But if you think about the stats that he has put up, averaging triple doubles for multiple years, I think it was like 3 years in a row he averaged a triple double.
Yep, average.
What's the one thing that he hasn't done yet is win that title. Like that would really cement him where I think people won't look back at him quite as fondly as we looked at him during his heyday without a championship. I think with a championship, we look back at him as one of the all-time greats. I feel like he could be a forgotten man. As good as he is, I think he could still be almost a forgotten man 20 years down the road. Unfortunately, even as good as he was.
No, 1,000%. And
you're
even
right.
worse for Chris Paul.
And that's where I was going to go with that. Chris Paul was probably the best point guard of this generation.
Yes.
I think if he wins one, he retires. If they win it this year, he retires.
He should.
Right after, as he should. And so the reason why I was saying Chris Paul is because he needs to get one. As good as he has been, is not good, as great and as phenomenal as he has been. He that's the one thing on his resume he doesn't have. The reason why I say KD is KD does have two, but there's a lot of talk about how he had to go to Golden State. He had to join Curry. And I know he was the leader over there. Even though you had Curry and you had all the other players over there, he led those teams. As my dog is choking. You're right.
Well, good.
He's not choking. He's hiccuping.
He's disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
What's happening?
This guy's really ruining
I can't believe that you're
Choking on your words,
KD like that.
He's really ruining my time. But the reason why I say KD is I feel like a lot of people, when he went to Golden State, there's a lot of people that have this connotation of he chased the ring. He joined Curry, who were already champions already at that point, and he got there. Going to the Suns, that's not a team that's already been a champion. Booker is still young. Ayton is still young. He's going to go there, and he's going to be the leader over there. To win a championship as the leader of the Phoenix Suns team, I think is different than the ring he won in Golden State. And I think it kind of cements him as someone that can go and lead a team. He doesn't need a Curry and a Klay Thompson to be able to win a title.
He's not. I don't think he's the leader of the Suns. I think it's Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul is like the center. He will be the quarterback, right? Even though he's not the best player on the team. KD obviously is, but I think Chris Paul's the leader. KD was the leader in Brooklyn. And that went to hell. Allie will attest to that. You had James Harden and Kyrie Irving and all those players and only have one playoff win.
One. Good point.
One playoff series win, right? Come on, man.
But that's even more important of why he needs to win one. That's why I think it's even more important that he needs to win one now.
Well, I hear it, but because he already has the two, and I get there's the controversy, but he got two. And he got two NBA MVP finals MVP. I mean, come on. So that's why I think it's less than Chris Paul. You know what I mean? Like KD will always be able to say, I got two rings. You can clown all you want, but he got two.
Yeah.
Chris Paul not having one will be a tragedy. Could you imagine when they do the
for sure.
the champion dinner and Mark Madsen, who y'all may not even know of, hands Chris Paul his coat and says, hang that up for me, chump. Because you don't got one of these.
Well, I know. Speaking of Chris Paul, you know what? To bring us back to the jock conversation about bringing a veteran into that locker room, Chris Paul might be the type of guy that you say, "Come over here, give us 15 minutes a night, but just be a presence in the locker room for a young John Morant." He might be the perfect guy for that after this year, if he needs somewhere else to go. Or even a Derrick Rose who's been through it. Listen, Derrick Rose, as a Knicks fan, I love what he's doing. He doesn't play much, but he's great on our locker room. He might be another guy that would be perfect for what John needs. I couldn't think of a name before, but those might be two guys. But yeah, man. All right, so we're gonna take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll get into some more headlines. Boom.
Craving your favorite theme park treats? right from the comfort of your home? Introducing MainStreetTreat.com. We bring your favorite treats right to your doorstep. Visit MainStreetTreat.com today and go ahead, treat yourself.
Happiness is addictive. Passionate about spreading laughter and creating smiles worldwide. Happiness is addictive brings our global community together through humor, optimism, cheer, hopefulness, and merriment. Happiness is addictive. Happiness is addictive.
Guys, looking to book a vacation? Try your Fairy Hill vacation with our main man, Neil Shukart. You can contact him in his email, Neil, that's Neil, at yourfairytalevacation.com, or on Instagram, Disney Universal Travel Planner, or on the cell phone, 713-817-5934. Free, 100% free travel planning, 100% free quotes. He specializes in Disney World, Disneyland, Disney's Hawaii or Aulani, Universal Orlando, Universal Hollywood, and even those big cruise ships, Disney Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean, Holland America, Norwegian Cruise Line, and Princess Cruise Line. So if you're looking to book a trip or a cruise, he is definitely your guy. He specializes in those Disney spots down there. Make sure you go check him out, Neil from Your Fairy Tale Vacation. All right. So let's get into some Hollywood stuff. We haven't done any of the pop culture stuff. Let's get into that a little bit. Super Mario Brothers scoring crazy great $80 million in second week domestically. Looks like they're still running things. Caleb, I know you had some stuff to say about it. I know you're a big Peach song fan.
Hell, it's the greatest love song of all time.
I heard.
It just replaced Love Ballad for me. You know what I mean?
I think you said it was better than Ribbon in the Sky. If I remember.
It's absolutely better than Ribbon in the Sky.
Wait, better than
love song of all time.
I said I texted you back. I messaged you back to support Steve.
It be Hello by Lionel Richie.
What? What about Kiss from a Rose? Did it beat Kiss from a Rose?
Oh God, yes. Yes.
Oh, damn.
It's the greatest love song of all time. I don't care what nobody says. Right? I'm kidding. But I love it. I'm a big Jack Black fan. I love it. The movie is genius. If you I actually just posted something on my page today where I break down why the movie why it works so well. It's just in a different way. So if you want to check it out, you can go ahead and listen on my little rant about it.
I actually shared it. I saw it this morning. I shared it.
Yeah, that's right. I gotta add that to my thing. Yeah. I'm still learning. I'm not IG genius with it yet. But anyway, I really loved the movie. I thought it was phenomenal. It was enjoyable. And when the princess song comes in at a place where you're not even expecting it, and it just it changes everything. I was in the theater crying, laughing. My daughter was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Babe, it's genius. It's the greatest thing," because he's singing with so much passion. And he's like, I love it. Like, I just love it. So I have nothing bad to say about the Super Mario Brothers movie. I'm glad that there's somebody competing with Pixar and Disney in the animated space, so there's no longer a monopoly. Disney and Pixar have, in the last couple movies, kind of dropped the bar. Not as good. Like Strange World was, exactly.
And they didn't even really. I think they.
We lost him.
Yeah, Gene, you paused.
Our captain went down.
Down with the ship. Good day to you, sir.
Have you seen the movie? Because I haven't, but I really want to. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I dropped the ball on that too, man. Like the last couple weeks have been pretty nuts. So so there's two flicks I gotta see. I gotta see Dungeons and Dragons. And I gotta see Super Mario. Super Mario, I'm putting in a little bit more of a priority.
Me too.
Because go ahead, Caleb.
I saw them both. And I would, if you go see Super Mario Brothers first.
Yes.
And then Dungeons and Dragons.
And the thing about you, because you mentioned you said Jack Black sings a song, right? It's like, are you guys familiar with his band like Tenacious D?
Absolutely.
Yes. So I was super late to the game, and like I saw Tenacious D in The Pick of Destiny. I saw that late too, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing! Like I love that movie. So I did a deep dive. I spiraled into his album, the discography, and I was like, I love the way he sings. I love he just talks sings sometimes, and but it's just he has so much affliction. He is so much like you can feel his energy and just like how sprightly he is, and it doesn't matter what the context of the song is or like the subject matter. Jack Black's always got this like fantastic aura about him, especially when he sings.
Yeah,
I feel like Jack Black is just someone who no one has an issue with. Like, Jack Black's in this film, great, like, oh, he's so funny, he's so this, he's like America's friend, America's dad. I know everyone who knows Jack Black, obviously, he loves him. Like, it's such a comforting kind of feeling when you're watching a Jack Black film, because you can expect to go through the human emotions, you can expect to laugh, you can expect to kind of feel all the things, and I don't know, he's just great. I've always loved him, always will. Like I said, like America's dad.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it happened to me. Nacho Libre, like he sings in that. He's got a couple songs. I'm telling you, like
genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah,
I love it.
Nuts. Hey, you know what? Let's do this. Yeah, let's jump into the next headlines here. So what do we got?
Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, Ryan Seacrest tearfully says goodbye to Kelly Ripa and his live family after the final episode. Did you guys catch this? Did you guys see this?
Yeah, I didn't catch it. I knew it was coming. I didn't know exactly when his last show would be. Mm-hmm. But listen, Ryan Seacrest, the jack of all trades, right? He's like, if you don't see something that Ryan Seacrest is, if you see something Ryan Seacrest isn't affiliated with, you're like, huh? It's like you almost expect him to kind of pop up all over the map. With that being said, he has done an incredible job. I actually love the pairing of Kelly and Ryan. Probably the most. I mean, I like when Michael Strahan was on it for a little bit, but I really like the way that they bounce off each other. And now I'm super excited to see her husband and that chemistry there, because obviously there's just that organic, natural chemistry that comes with just, having conversation with your partner compared to everyone else. And you can be more authentic in a way. You can kind of reveal more. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm really interested in their chemistry and how they show up and host together. So I'm liking this for the show.
Me personally, I think Kelly is making a big mistake bringing her husband onto the show. That's what you do not do. That's what you do not do, because it's all good until you're not getting along. And here's the thing. A man can fake it and act funny and all this, and Kelly be like, yeah, next time, right? Like, something happened. Like, women be, no, I'm not faking it. I don't like you right now, right? Like, I'm telling you, keep the mate separate from your actual business. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a tragedy, and it's bad for everybody that works for you, because even if you guys can fake it on screen because you have to for the money, the crew, no. Oh my God, Kelly, she doesn't want to say. So everybody's on pins and needles. You make everybody else's life bad. I'm telling you, like,
I can see that.
Do it.
I can see it going that way. But for this couple in particular, they've been together for so many years. They've never been a stranger about talking about their adversities in their relationship. They've never been strangers to talking about, I hated when he did that and when she did that, and then we talked through it. And I like that they've always kind of kept us in the light of that. And so it helps to make us feel like, okay, they're like anybody else. And so with that mindset and kind of knowing a little bit more about them as, a couple going into this, I feel like she's not going to fake it. I feel like if she's mad, she's going to be like, and he's an asshole today, but anyway, let's take a caller. And I almost feel like that's going to add to the enjoyment of watching it, because you're getting kind of the real, ups and downs in real time. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, I agree, Caleb, it can be bad for the crew who has to go through any of the turmoil behind the scenes, but I do think it's going to make for good TV. And I do think for a couple that has been together for as long as they've been together and have been so open about their ups and downs, it's going to be good. I do think they'll be able to work professionally together in this space.
Definitely. I agree. Just real quick, I agree with you, Ali. No, I think it's going to be fantastic for TV. I didn't say the fans were going to suffer. I'm just talking about them.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I'm with you.
And you know, people forget too. Regis, back when Regis was still doing the show and he was still with us, he used to do it with his wife a lot. Joy was his wife, and she was his co-host often. So it's not like the show hasn't had it before.
That's different. Jumping on and jumping off. That's way
well. It's which is what Marcus Willis has done up to this point too.
Every
Here and
single
there.
day, and you live with them. And
yeah.
you eat, I'm telling you,
anyone that's married knows there's gonna be those times when there's just arguments that you have just because you're a married couple and you argue.
You want your space. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
I will do this though. I will double back to the original headline of the article. I watched the video, and I want to say this about Seacrest. His send off was very genuine. There's been times where he's come across, and it's just been like he's been too much. I haven't kept up with his career and how it's been going, but I have noticed the more he gets ingrained in that lifestyle, in that world, the more it seems like he's not being performative anymore. It just seems like it's coming off the cuff. And he said it like that's his tool, like his using words and speaking. And I loved his suit. I'm not gonna lie. I loved his suit, man. It was an off-white suit, white shirt, black tie, black pocket square.
Yeah.
It looked amazing. And from a guy whose father was a tailor, I know a little bit about suits, and it looked fantastic. I was like, I wish I wore that instead of the maroon that I wore. I mean, the maroon still crushed. But I mean,
I was like, you look spiffy, man. You look.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. But generally, I was like, good for him, man. But I'm with you guys, and I think that Kelly looked fantastic. She looked fantastic, and I think it's gonna be fun. Whatever happens, it's gonna be fun. I'm not gonna watch it, but it's gonna be fun.
I'm going to just say this before we leave this topic. I love Ryan. I think he is a phenomenal businessman and a genius with what he does. But I will say this. I blame him for the degradation of young female beauty all around the world because he discovered the Kardashians and they ruined it for all the little girls in the world with trying to attain unattainable beauty and doing all of these things. They learned that from them. And that is all because of Ryan. Now, there's a lot of surgeons out there that should be giving Ryan money, sending him a check, because without him, none of that would have happened. So I got to give Ryan his
royalty.
But also tell him, hey, you got us on that one, buddy. And not that they're bad people or anything. I'm just saying that representation, what it did to our society of young girls. It's a little rough out there.
I agree. I get that for sure. Now, I'm honestly, business-wise, Ryan Seacrest might be one of the smartest men. Like you said, he knew that would be a hit, and he put it out. And let's face it, there's not a time. At one point, there wasn't a time you could put on VH1 and you wouldn't find one version of that series that they had at any point in the day. But I think I'm a little Ryan Seacrested out. Like I think he needs to take a little step back from the camera. Stay behind the camera. You're a smart businessman.
Every single day,
he's on. There's something with him on it. I'm kind of like. And he's sometimes he's just too happy for me. He's too cheerful for me. Sometimes I want to tell him to pipe down. Like, life's not that great, guy. Like, don't you ever have a bad day?
That's because you're from New York.
Like, I was a DJ and I'm worth $1 billion now.
Yeah. Well, he still is DJing and VJing Z100. He goes from he did go from live with Kelly and Ryan straight to host a 4-hour show with just 2 co-hosts every single day for Z100 to then God knows what, because you only have so many hours in a day. So you got to create some time for yourself. And it's like, I'm kind of with you, Gene. Give someone else a little chance. Not that it's a scarcity mindset thing. Like, I'm all about abundance. I think there's more than enough opportunity and money to go around. So it's not like him stepping down will provide an opportunity for someone else, but him stepping down would just be a little less. And I'm okay with that as well.
I'm for it as well. Enough of Ryan Seacrest. Ryan Seacrest, go away. All right, next. I'm just playing.
Seacrest out.
Seacrest out for good. Drake in the Weekend AI generated song goes viral.
I hated it.
First of all, do you hate that it happened, or do you hate the song? The song's kind of catchy. When the Weekend comes in, the Weekend kind of kills it. I know it's not really the Weekend.
No, I like the song. That's why I hate it, because it's scaring me. It's scaring me that like AI can do this, and that it's just becoming like we're realizing that as humans, we're creating this, we're allowing this to happen, and we're becoming less and less hands-on. Like they're just taking over as we've all kind of thought it would happen. And now it's like, ooh, we're living in the stage where it's actually happening.
Terminator warned us of Skynet. Terminator warned us of Skynet. I feel like this is the beginning of Skynet, right? Yeah. I mean, like there's certain things that technology should not be able to do. I get it. You can write an article. That's one thing. Like someone, they can write their papers through AI. If you can actually take a voice of the actual voice of an artist and create a whole, even they had the Metro, like even had the producer, even the producer was fake. Nobody talks about that. The whole thing was faked, but again, it was a catchy song. I'd like to see if we record it and just redo it. You can actually get this on Apple under the name Ghost.
It gets into like copyright stuff, I feel like, because it's like, did Drake or The Weeknd say, hey, you can use my voice? Like it just feels it wrong on every
because
level.
It's not them, it's AI. So that's how you get out of it. And then the other thing is this. I agree with Ali 1000%. And with you, Gene, I disagree with what you were saying about the article thing, because no, it doesn't stop there. So now me as a producer, say I don't have to pay writers. I can tell AI I want a scene with this and this, and I want it to feel like this. And then it writes me a scene. Then I do another scene and another scene. And now I have a script that I put my name on, not in hire a writer. It's for free. I put my name on it and I sell it. You see what I mean?
I get it.
And they're making the editing AI where you can shoot your movie, put it into a thing and say, I want it to feel like The Godfather with funniness of The Cable Guy, with the music of Beverly Hills Cop 2. And then it will spit out your movie with that in mind. And now it's edited with music added and done. Now you don't need an editor. Right? I'm telling you, it's the beginning of the end for artistry. You do not want this. You think you do? You do
I don't.
I don't. They make an AI artist that is not real, but is making music. It's on its way. It is on.
But how do we stop it? Can it be stopped?
No, it can't be stopped.
Or concerts. Yeah, it's scary. Like concerts in the cloud, concerts in Fortnite. Like there's a Fortnite concert. I'm like, even that is like too much for me, because you're paying to go to a virtual concert that's like real but not, and the artist is promoting it but they're not actually performing, and I can't conceptualize it, and I think I don't want to. Maybe that's why I can't.
Yeah, what's happening here is we're looking death in the face, in the eye. We're looking at like death of all things just to start, all things creative. We're looking at right in the face. And what happened was one of the biggest like punches in the gut to society was that whole, hey, take your face, throw it in this AI machine, and it spits out you in, Blade Runner, or you is sitting around the round table with all the knights. Like once we got that thing and people just kind of got a taste, oh man, this is really cool, not knowing how far this thing could go, because only weeks later that it was revealed, hey, guess what? I just saw this viral video with this guy who sounded like Kanye, just a white guy, just sounded like Kanye. And he was like, hey, guess what? You think I'm Kanye, but it's not. Turned off the AI, like emitter or whatever you want to call it, simulator. And he didn't sound anything like Kanye. And then he's like, I just thought I'd try this out. Then he wrote some bars. They weren't great, but when you put the Kanye voice on, the emulator on it, it sounded exactly. I was like, oh, that sounds exactly like Kanye would have said. That is scary. I mean, I'm just reiterating the fact this whole thing is scary, man. That's why you have people like Elon Musk and all these other, and Gates and all these other really smart people saying, hey, we need to dial this back. We need to stop. And I don't even know if people are going to listen to them. Because
I agree with you. This one is so bad, Nigel, because think about this. We're just talking about music. Like, Prince and Michael Jackson is on tour next week, right? You know what I mean? But outside of that, imagine if you could do that voice. Imagine the Pentagon getting a call from Joe Biden saying, do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, those deep fakes, man.
Dude, I'm trying to tell you, it could be really bad when you start thinking of ways to do stuff like that. Because we're just hearing music. Oh, you impersonated Drake. What about if you impersonate Jinping of China saying, release this bomb here? And somebody does it because it sounds just like him and it's from his office.
It's so true.
I'm telling you, this is horrific. It really is. We definitely have to stop it, but it's not going to. it's not going to stop. It's only going to get worse.
But
it's
why?
only
Is there too much money to be made from it, or is it because
absolutely?
Or is it because
think of what you can do with that.
Yeah.
I just said Prince and Michael Jackson is on tour together next week, and then I can impersonate the president's voice to send a bomb to Russia.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? It's way too much power. They're going to make a movie about that. A villain's going to use the AI and be impersonating everybody in the damn movie. Like, I'm telling you, it's already happening. Written by an AI writer.
And I think
take a different turn on this. Like when you mentioned the, Kardashians and kind of how that's ruining, body dysmorphia and all these unrealistic ideas of how your body should be, especially for young, vulnerable girls. Right. It's so sad. But now add the layer of AI where what you're seeing, you can change how you look in a video. You can change how you look and filter to have, anything you want, any way you want to look, blue eyes, different color hair, a huge ass, like whatever you want, and then put it out there and people are looking at it, not realizing that this is not real. And that's adding to just the mental health decline of the next generation because of, again, they're comparing themselves to now this completely fake person who's using AI to alter their body image. And that is just completely disrupting their mental and emotional health and their view of themselves. And it's really upsetting. So even on that level, it's like just the boiling it down to the basic, girl just on social media or anyone on social media comparing themselves, like that it's trickling down. And it's so upsetting to see that. It really, really is. So it's not even just like famous musicians and all the things you mentioned. It's like everyday people of being so affected by this. It's, again, scary. What else can we say about it? We're all scared. We're all we know it's bad.
The last thing I'll say, the last thing is like, the last thing I'll say is, Caleb, you mentioned two things. You mentioned money and you mentioned power. I think it's more the power than it is the money.
The ego of saying I created this.
Yeah. So I think it's the power, right? It's now. I don't give a shit about how much money I can make. It's like, can I control X, Y, and Z?
The world.
Can I? Yeah, that's X, Y, Z, and the world. Like I think it's about the power, and I think it's about this power that can be obtained by anybody. The four of us could do this. Anybody way younger than us are already doing this. It is just being able to do it. It's having the power to do it. How far can I go?
Yep.
So pretty much we're all left, pretty much.
Yeah. 100%.
100%.
Anyway,
there's going to be a new pop-up that'll come on tomorrow impersonating all four of us.
Headline. Like we just have to go back to a normal conversation now.
Actually, let's go back to the NBA. We'll come off headlines for a minute. Let's go back to the NBA and talk a little Rookie of the Year. I'll tell you what, I thought Boncharo was my guy, but let's go around the horn.
It's Pablo for sure.
Yep, I agree. Pablo is killing it in Orlando. Like I just think he's phenomenal. And and sadly, I think he's gonna have to leave to get to his thing because they're just not doing anything in Orlando, man. Like they're just not.
I think they have a decent young team though. They got some nice young pieces there. They got Fultz who they developed Fultz. Fultz looked like a bust until he got to Orlando. Now he's starting to develop.
Yeah, that's true. Now I'll give him respect for that. You're right about that. You're right.
I don't think they should have traded who did they trade to the Lakers? I'm blanking on the name. Mo Bamba. I don't think they should have traded Bamba.
Oh yes, he was over there. That's right. But
I get what it is. I think they add another big man to that mix, and that could be a team that could be a playoff team in a few years. I think they're close. Not close. I should say close. I think they have a lot of work to do, but I think they can be. I think Cole Anthony's a nice young player. They never should have traded Bamba or even Aaron Gordon. They traded him a couple years ago to Denver. We've seen how he's excelling in Denver right now. They just need to be patient with their players. They need to not move on from players. Give them a chance to develop. They obviously developed Fultz from he was in a couple places before he made it to Orlando. Nigel, what about you? Because you didn't say Boncharo yet. Are you going the same way?
I'll go the same way. I mean, I really liked what Williams is doing though. Jalen Williams is all right. Like that OKC team, I think that OKC team has more potential than the Orlando team, the Colonel.
Oh yeah, they're closer.
Yeah, so I feel like
my boy Chet is hurt. And Chet is a baller. Can
you imagine what they get next year? That's like adding a new rookie just next year alone.
Yeah. Yep. So I feel like I'm with you, Caleb. I think it's like, I think Banchero needs to bounce. I think he just needs to get out of there because it's been a sinking ship. They had a really great year, but it's just a slow sinking ship for that franchise, and it has been for a while. So like, get your accolades, get your flowers now, and I think you make that money and get on a team. It doesn't have to be a contender. We just want to feel you out some more. We just want you to
imagine if he was in Dallas.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
You see what I mean? Like an extra piece on one of these teams. Like, you know what I mean? Like that type of stuff is what I mean. Like, give yourself an opportunity to really get on the main stage, because that's when your life changes. That's when you start getting more endorsements. That's when you start getting all this.
And because
you know what
he's a rookie, he's more likely to just be open to be gelling with the team. Whereas like Kyrie coming into the Mavs, it took some time into the flow. Like a rookie, especially, I think he led all first-year players by like 3.3 points average this season. So like, he's got the potential. I do think he needs to get away from Orlando. I do think you're right, like adding him to Mavs or somewhere where there's other, kind of key players that he can just plug into and start, just bouncing off them, working with them. He's young. He's hungry.
Even if he went south to Miami, imagine him on the Heat.
Oh, that'd be crazy. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
You know what I mean? With him, hero, buckets, like, yo.
Yeah,
but I'll be honest though, and Orlando's kind of like my second home. I love Orlando. I'm not a huge Magic fan. Golden State's probably my second.
It's a beautiful city.
I love the city. The city's so much fun. There's so much, and that's not just because Disney. There's just more things. There's a lot of other things to do besides Disney. I just love the city. It's my second. Like I said, it's like my second home. I would love to see the Magic finally put something into this team and really develop a team, man. And who better to do that with? I get why for Banchero, he's got to go. I get it. For him, it makes sense to always join another team. But wouldn't you love to see the Magic really like build around Banchero and really make him? And he's the question too. As good as the years he had, is he a Batman or is he a Robin?
I mean, listen,
I think he's a Robin.
Yeah, I was going to say he's a Robin for sure. And I agree with you, man. I don't think any of us are actually saying that we just don't want to have the Magic flounder for decades on decades. I don't think any of us are saying
we don't want to waste Banchero. You want to see Magic.
Literally, that's what I'm saying. I just don't want to waste talent that's in an organization that doesn't have their ducks in a row yet, that hasn't really figured out what they want to be again yet. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, they're Penny and Shaq days obviously are very far behind them. Yeah. So now it's like, okay, if you want to be a contender again, you really have to make moves. Like, you have to be smart. You can't just get these great rookies. Well, get a great rookie and just have nothing to support him with.
I agree. Look at Hachimura, right? Mm-hmm. He was on the Wizards for years balling, but he does it for the Lakers yesterday, and now it's like, oh, who's this guy? That could be the same thing for Pablo. Like, you gotta get out there.
Hachimura could be in LA, could be a potential 6 Man of the Year guy next year.
1,000%.
So yeah, I personally think he's my guy too. I would love to see him stay there the long haul and build around him, build us something in Orlando. Because listen, when Orlando was good, they're fun to watch. When the years that they've been good, they had Shaq and Penny, they had the Dwight Howard, they went to the finals with Dwight Howard.
Right.
When they're in, the city supports that team when they're good. Mm-hmm. I would love to see that the city build up around that team and the team build up around Banchero. I think there's a future there. I personally do.
But they would need a Batman for that, unless he can. And I'm not saying he can't develop into a Batman, but
it's way too early, I think, right now.
Well, but listen, they're gonna have a lottery pick this year too, I guess, right? So,
but you need a Batman now. Like, the city of Gotham needs a Batman now.
But they could get that guy this year. You never know. What if they get the first pick overall and they get this kid Wemby from France? That kid's gonna be a beast.
Yeah, maybe.
He looks a
little skinny to me. He looks a little skinny to me.
So does Chet Holmgren, though.
Yeah. No, you're right. And that's why, and what happened? That's why he's injured.
That's why they got to put on the weight. And at the end of the day, the skill set.
First season.
but the skill set is there. Chet Holmgren, I think, with the skill set.
But it's a different league. You're banging.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you do need a little weight there. Because
Zion can maybe lower a little bit.
Yeah.
And this dude is on the other side. You got to be right in the middle, baby.
Yeah. It's the opposite thing. So, all right, we got a couple more headlines we're going to go to before we get at it because we're running up against it now. So real quick, Gerald McCoy announced his retirement. 9 years in the league, or actually a couple more than 9, but 9 with the Bucks, 6 Pro Bowls. I think just a tick under a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's quite a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's had any All Pros, but a nice career. So happy trails to him. Anyone got anything nice to say about Gerald McCoy?
Yeah, he was a beast, but I would say smart man, because you can't bang your head against other people for a living and expect to be mentally okay later, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to sacrifice one for the other. The money now to have brain issues later. So I'm like Patrick Willis, retired while he was young because he was like, it's too many hits. Like, I'm trying to be okay. I applaud Gerald McCoy for that, because you play a sport where you have car accidents every single play. It is your job to put your head in danger. And I think he's made enough money. Well, probably not enough. I never want to count somebody's pockets, but he's made some money. I know he's got something. And now he's got his wits about him to where he can go and continue on a life and do something great. I wish nothing but the best for him. But I think it was a very smart decision to leave while he still has his wits about him.
Yeah, I agree with that. And we'll do
real quick, just because he's only played a short career, like let's just say 10 years in the NFL, which isn't short. That's a decade. But you know how long it took him to get there? He's been playing since he was 7 or 8 years old, banging his head, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's not 10 years, it's 30. You know what I mean?
And I think he also, correct me if I'm wrong, I think did he tear his ACL that one year he was going to play in Dallas? He signed with Dallas, but I don't think he played. So I remember correctly, I think he tore an ACL in the preseason. It was something happened when he got hurt. He was hurt for the whole year. So he's got some issues. Forget about just the head stuff, which is dangerous. He did get banged up down on
I'd rather tear my ACL 100 times than to deal with brain injury.
Oh, I agree. And
you know 100%. What I mean? So to me, it's the banging. That's what I'm glad he's getting away from. Even though I love football, it's my favorite.
We're still learning so much about.
Oh yeah, we only know the tip of the iceberg.
Oh my God, I know. So that's just another thing that's like scary. Is kind of like why we're advancing so much with AI, but not with like cancer research or brain. Anyway, I digress. So I agree.
It's where the money's at. That's why. Where's the money? There's more money in that.
Good on him, and I wish him obviously nothing but the best and enjoy his, retirement.
I just wish he would retire after 2 words: orange crimsicles. I just wish he just put on one of them crimsicle uniforms since they're bringing it back just one time and then bounce.
I thought you were gonna say one season with the Argonauts. I thought that's what you were gonna give us. one season with the Toronto Argonauts. No?
I'll have more on them in a minute. All right.
They're coming up soon. We can talk some Argonauts. You'll have to educate me a little bit because I don't know enough about.
Yeah, I was like, you're gonna have to let me know everything about that.
So I'll take over.
Do you go to Argonaut games down there?
Yeah, man. The stadium's right down the. So I live very central to both stadiums. So the Raps are 25-minute walk. TFC, and because I know Ali, you mentioned you were MLS stuff or something on the weekend, but TFC is just down the road. They play in the same buildings, Argonauts, BMO Field. So yeah, I'm right in the middle, man. So I'm there all the time. To be truthful.
Oh, you're right in the heart of it all.
Yeah, guy, come through. Let's go. The Caravana Parade is right next door, man. The route. Yeah, Caleb, you know what's up. It's right down there, doggy.
I do.
I might have to make my way up to Toronto when the Knicks come up there next year, and we'll go
Let
catch
me know.
So all right, let's do one more headline. Let's go back to let's go back to Hollywood headlines. Where we at? Expect more Last of Us Beyond season 2. You guys excited about this? How do you guys feel about season 1?
I loved it. And I can say that I didn't play the game, so I don't know how it feels to compare the two. But from what I've heard from people who I know who played the game, they loved it as well, which isn't something you hear often when it's, an adaptation. I feel like they don't do it justice usually, and they definitely did this one justice. I loved it so much. I'm so ready for the next season. I hear it's going to be a lot darker because the game is a lot darker after that first game. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready for it all. And I think they did a wonderful job with casting too.
Well, and they only have the 2 games, but they said because of the way the second game ended, the showrunners that they already
how much people fell in love with the show. It's a money.
That's what I'm saying. And you can go any the way seasons. Yeah. Well, they said the way game 2 ended, you can really go in any direction because it left it so open ended. Caleb and Nigel, are you guys gamers with that? You guys ever play the game or you just watch the show?
No, I never played it because I like open world games, but my stuff is more like I like either Grand Theft Auto or like Red Dead Redemption. I love like that kind of stuff. So that's more my open world thing. But I will say that I watched the series because recently got my whole back tatted, like my entire back got covered. And my tattoo artist was like, hey, let's watch The Last of Us. Just brings the whole season. By the time you're done watching that, I'll be done with half your back. So that was that. Yeah, it was 2 10-hour sessions. So I watched the whole first season one day, and I thought it was.
He ended up like accidentally doing a whole scene from The Last of Us.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's like Pedro Pascal, what's going on back there?
I didn't. I tried to play the game just before it started. That didn't work out very well. But I did watch the show and was floored. I thought it was phenomenal. And Ali, you proved Caleb and I right, which was when we talked about this a couple weeks ago. We said how this show really transcended if you played it or if you didn't play it or if you watched it and did play it, whatever combo it was, people regardless enjoyed the show, whether they're fanboys, fangirls, fan people, whether they're haters of certain things, they still enjoyed the show, which is very unprecedented for an adaptation game, which is exactly what you mentioned.
I mean, I'm an avid reader, and even that, when the book becomes a movie, I'm almost always disappointed, and I'm just like, oh, like, why do I even like do that? Why do I even watch it? I know I'm going to be disappointed. So going in, I guess, with no expectations was also great. But as you said, even my friends who have played it loved it, which is just so awesome. And I'm like proud of the show, even though I have nothing to do with it.
I never played the video game either. I knew it was a video game. I never played it. But I think it doesn't even need the video game. Like you guys said, it stands on its own. It's just a good show. It's still, like I said, I get the storylines there, but they still got to come up with making it into something. I guess not cinematic would be the right word, but for TV. And I thought they did a great job of it. The game only gets you so far, right? I think that the way they did it, I think you didn't have to be a fan of the game, obviously, to be into it. So and the best part is I'd love to see it go past the video games. Like so far, they have a second video game. I'd love to see what they do with it when the writers actually have some freedom because they don't got to follow the video game outline. Like, go past it. Like, if you have season 3 before you're up to the video game 3, create something. I would love to see what they do with it when there's not a video game to line it up with. Again,
they absolutely will. The problem is they can't, because if the video game doesn't line up, it'll make the video game people have to make what they did. And they may be like, no, because here's the deal. It takes years to make a video game. Years.
Yeah.
Like they're probably making part 3 now, and it won't be ready for another 3 years. Like, you know what
I mean?
So,
but
that's like Game of Thrones, right? Like
Game of Thrones is the same way. Yeah, the last couple seasons
after the books, and in my opinion, went downhill. Like, I wish it almost. I don't know. Obviously,
that's a good point.
Went to a different direction, but there's not going to be. At least we don't believe there's going to be any more books in the series. So otherwise, what would they do? Go hand in hand with what the show?
Well, there's going to be. They are doing a new series.
Great, so.
They're doing the Jon Snow series. There's going to be a Jon Snow series.
That's different. So hopefully it's good. I just hate it. Like, after the books were done, the last 2 seasons of the show were like not great. But
the last season wasn't great, but it was still like I sometimes look back on it. Did we just judge it harshly because it was the last year and we always judge final seasons of shows harshly?
Rushed. I don't think so. It just seemed rushed. It seemed a little bit like
character development. The character development wasn't really there. Like, she's cool, and then she's bad. Like, she's overnight. You can see it a little bit. Don't get me wrong. You can see it a little bit, but she really fell off the edge. Like,
even the time it took a freaking pigeon the first season, like all season, to get to wherever they needed to go, and then all of a sudden, one scene to the next, the pigeon's there. I'm like, no, they're rushing everything. Like, everything is poor. I just felt I was so unhappy with it because I was such a fan.
But I'll tell you what, George R. Martin, a Jet fan, so that's always that. That's not so bad. That's why I like him.
Now I like him even less. No, I'm just kidding.
He's a Jet fan. All right, guys. So let's go around the horn. Last words, Ali Melendez. What's your last words for the day?
Oh man, I don't know. Just be a nice person. I feel like I see so many, especially on social media, there's so many comments of just like you don't know anything about that person's life, and yet you feel compelled to give an opinion. I'm just so not about that. Be nice, because it's just not worth your energy to be anything else. So if you can take that throughout your week and make it kind of like the mantra of the week, just be a fucking nice person. We need more of that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And we'll see you tomorrow as well, Alex. We got
we'll see you tomorrow.
Caleb, last words of the day.
You know what? I love what Ali just said. I agree wholeheartedly. So I'll just say it a little bit different. In the words of the immortal poet, the notorious B.I.G., spread love is the Brooklyn way. You know what I mean?
Oh, I like that even more. Got a little Brooklyn flair in there. So thank you.
Nigel, last words.
I'm going to stay on this trend. Give someone a hug. Give someone a compliment. Give someone a high five. Because it's connection, y'all. It's connection.
Look at us. We went all over the map today.
I'll tell you what. I'll have some last words. I'm going to say, Toronto, leave DR alone. But DR, pipe down a little bit next game. We don't need to hear the screeching. We get it. We get it. You're rooting for your dad. But guys, have a great today, a better tonight, and we will see you tomorrow.
Peace.
Bye.
That's the pop off for today, folks. Thank you to all of our listeners, as well as our producers, Patty Puddles and Fareed Kameo. And make sure you tune in tomorrow to hear what these hooligans will pop off about next.